Says we're live on Facebook now. Brian, are you ready for cash call? I'm ready for cash call.
I am ready for cash call. You know, I've missed you, Dale. Like 2 weeks ago, it was without you. And last week I was at a conference and just my world was not quite right for the last 2 weeks. So I feel like everything is back the way it should be now.
Absolutely. I missed you as well. And listen, I know that everybody needs a little bit of Dale. So that's just normal. Absolutely. But cool. So today's cash call, everybody, thanks for joining us. We're so excited to see you. We're going to be talking about website registrations, right? So the lead source of website registrations, how you want to talk to them, how you want to convert them, and how you're going to deal with these people that may not be ready to convert right away, right? And when we're talking website registrations, we're primarily talking about things like pay-per-click advertising, right? Where you drive them to a website and typically you're either going to ask them to register right then, or you're going to ask them to register within, after having looked at a couple of homes. But Brian, give them a couple of examples, other examples of where, somebody might be registering on your website.
So it depends on what website you're using. A lot of people will drive people off of Facebook onto their website. I know that we've done that in the past. But the majority of stuff is pay-per-click. Also, sometimes we'll just send people over to our website different ways. There is an actual thing called organic reach. I think sometimes we forget about it, but there's agents out there who are doing an amazing job of videos and different things and driving people that way. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how they get there. They're there because on some level they're interested in buying a house, and that's what I want everybody to remember. So as agents, we say this. I've said it. I'm going to go on a limb and say Dale said it. These leads suck. This lead sucks, and we've really changed our mindset around that. In that understanding that they have some level of interest. They are literally going to a site. They're clicking on something. They know what it is. It's 2019. They know what a computer is and how this works. They have some interest in buying a house at some point in time. Yeah. And that may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. But you know what? I'm going to be in business 6 months, 12 months, 24 months from now. I need those people too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so along with the intention, right? So we're talking intention. So we always start out with intention when we're talking about the particular lead type that we're working on. These people, generally speaking, have the intention to do something.
Yes.
Unless it's like, mom is looking for daughter, or, somebody's just bored at home and wanted to see what houses are on the market near them, but otherwise those people typically have some kind of intention, and they may not be ready today, right? So it may not be right now business. It's not necessarily like a portal lead or what portal leads used to be in their heyday, but they do have some intention of purchasing. So let's talk. Why don't we just run through? We'll do the intro. Brian, why don't you do your intro? I'll do my intro. We can talk about, developing or doing the discovery with somebody, and then any objection handling, and then closing.
Absolutely. So, I'm going to start out, and the number one thing I'm trying to do is just give them some level of comfort, because I know this, Dale, and I'm going to guess you know it just as well as 95% of our viewers, is if I fill out a form and I give someone my name, phone number, and email address, I have an expectation that I'm going to get a phone call. And
we do, but a lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't. So I'm going to start with not bombarding them. We used to come in and say, hey, I saw you were looking at my website, just, checking out where you're at in the buying cycle, looking to buy in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, where you're at. I don't do that anymore, because first of all, the second I imply that I'm a salesperson instead of someone who's on their team, the second that happens, the wall goes up, and the only thing that they're trying to do is get me off the phone. So I start with a real simple thing. Hey, I noticed that you registered on your website. We just want to follow up and make sure that you don't have any questions about our website, how to use it, how can we help? And if you guys don't mind, give me a little bit of feedback on what you like and don't like about the website. We're not talking about them buying. They're willing to talk bad about me. They're willing to talk good about me. They don't care about that, because all of a sudden I'm just a guy who's doing a little bit of research, and I said this phrase, and if you don't learn anything else from Cash Call, learn the phrase out of curiosity. So out of curiosity, you've been looking on our website, can you give me a little bit of feedback? What do you like? I'd love to help you find what you're looking for. That's where I start. And hopefully that takes that from that shield and drops it. And now we can potentially actually have a conversation about where they're at.
Got it. And so, this is actually good that we have two different perspectives, because we take a different approach from what you take. And we assume that wall is up automatically when they get a call from a strange number and then they don't recognize the voice. And then we introduce ourselves as some real estate agent. We just assume that the wall is there. And so what we do is we say, hi, this is so-and-so with whatever real estate. We ask them how they're doing or make some sort of salutation, right? They answer us back, and then we ask a very simple quote. We tell them who they are to us. You registered on our website to look at homes for sale. Are you planning on buying in the next couple of months, or are you just window shopping? So basically we're saying, do you want to buy something, or do you want to tell me no? Would you like to tell me no? Go ahead and tell me no. Telling me no is okay. I'm a different kind of salesperson. I'm going to let you tell me no. Yeah. So that's how we go into our intro, and it's for us. I mean, it works out great, right? People they'll either tell you what their story is, or they'll say, oh, I'm just window shopping, because you gave them the option to say that, right? And that's what they're doing anyway, especially with those website registrations. And then regardless of what we do at that point, or it doesn't really matter. At that point, it's just great. What are you looking for? Or where are you looking? Or do you already live in the area? Are you renting now, or do you own your own home? Something like that, right? So you just take the conversation regardless of whether they give you a story or say, I'm just looking, and move on from it.
And I love what you said. And I learned this actually only the last couple of years. The best script for I'm just looking is great. What are you looking for? I mean, I know that sounds really, really simple and really, really dumb, but I tell the story all the time is I walk into a department store 100% sure that I'm there to buy a pair of pants. And the salesperson walks up to me and I say, I'm just looking. That's not true. I'm not saying
what are you looking for, Brian? I'm looking for a pair of pants.
Looking for some pants. Leave me the hell alone. And that's really where I'm at. I'll walk around, see 4 or 5 pair of pants, and then I'll go find that sales guy, because I know they work on commission like I do. So that, there's something about that. I got to give that guy the sale. But understand that's what people are doing. Imagine that your lead, that when you're calling them, they're at that department store, because I can't believe I'm the only person who walks into a department store and says, I'm just looking. So,
that's what everybody says.
Yeah, walk a mile in their shoes.
It looks like Chris Harden, that's what he wanted to know. Chris wanted to know, how do you overcome just looking? So that's how you do it, Chris. What are you looking for, right?
Absolutely. And remember, our goal here is to get them to talk, right? I mean, ultimately, if someone's 18 months out, all we're really doing is trying to build a relationship at this point in time. We're not, I guess you can bring that person in the office, you can go show them some houses, but if they are truly 18 months out, then really we're kind of spinning our wheels doing anything like that. But ultimately, we're just trying to, have a conversation with these people. We're going to figure out what kind of drip to put on, what kind of things to, send them, what, where our value to them is in the next 18 months before they actually pull the trigger.
Yeah, you really, if they're 18 months out, you're most likely not getting them to the office. Now, that's not to say that we aren't going to try to get a face-to-face with them, right?
Absolutely.
Whether that's in our office, whether that's in a coffee shop, or, we have clients, we're like, listen, make an appointment at their apartment. Go see them. Get in front of them. You'd go to a seller's house, go to their house.
So I love that, and I'll tell you a quick story about that. A guy on my team, one of the most innovative people on my team, he always is coming up with a different way to approach this thing. He's the first guy on my team who started sending video text. He actually started editing video text and sending them, and really cool stuff. He did a Captain America thing for Halloween, and then he had Captain America endorse him and pop back on the screen. Really cool. We're talking about a 15-second video, another class. But my point is this. So what Jared did the other day, he said, Brian, I found this new great thing and it's working out great. So what are you doing? He goes, I'm doing buyer consultations at their apartment or at their house. Here's the thing. Somebody lets you come to their house. That's saying you've done something. And by the way, they don't no-show you at your house. They'll no-show you at their office, but they're no-show you at their house.
And Brian, so when your agent gets into that apartment with somebody, sits down face-to-face with them, talks to them, gets to know who they are, they get to know who he is, right? Now, if they happen to be on the internet searching around again, which some people do occasionally, right?
I hear, yeah.
And they register on somebody else's website and they hear that familiar realtor pitch, how likely are they to then build rapport with that next salesperson?
I really feel like they're more likely to be the person who goes, I've got a realtor.
Exactly.
Now, and the majority of the realtors in this are watching our show, so they don't know how to overcome that objection. So, but yeah, and it's true. When most agents hear I've got a realtor, they their head slumps and they hang up the phone. And again, that's a script for another time. But it's really what we're all about. Face-to-face opportunities is, at the end of the day, our ultimate goal, in my opinion. Would you agree with that, Dale?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I was going to add one more, which is, what are we doing right now? Where are you at? Where are you located at, Brian?
Physically?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
And I'm outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right? We are meeting on video. So if you can't get them into your office, you can't get them to a coffee shop, you can't get into their apartment, at least get onto their laptop or their smartphone, right? Via video. So that's another way to get face-to-face with people.
Cool. Let's move a little bit forward, if you don't mind, because I think this is something that's really important. So, again, when we're talking pay-per-click or website registration, we're talking, realistically, the majority of the people are 6 to 18 months out. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So 6 to 18 months out, here's a great script, because we talk about scripts, and I feel like sometimes some of our listeners are saying, give me more scripts, give me more scripts. So when someone says to me on this call, look, Brian, I'm 6 months out. Great, by the way, that's awesome. I don't care if they're 6 months out, 6 days out, 6 years out. Whatever it is, it's awesome. So Dale, you're 6 months out. That's awesome. The majority of the people who register on our website are about 6 months out. We completely understand that. And we've got a whole program for that. And I'd love to tell you about it if you got a couple minutes. So I'm meeting them exactly where they're at and getting them to understand that no matter what, I've got a program for them. And here's one of the things that we found, and we're really working on this. These people that are 18 months out, lots of times they're not 18 months out. They're 6 to 9 months out. The people who are 6 months out are 3 months out. So, keep that in mind when you're disappointed that somebody's 6 months out, because they're a lot closer than you think. You just have to be the person who brought them enough value for them to move forward. And, here's what I've seen over time. When people get to the point where they really start actually looking for houses, let's say in their mind they're 6 months out, they start looking at houses, all of a sudden they get excited. They're like, wow, I love that backyard. Look at the swimming pool on that. Now, they're not telling us that, but that's what they're sitting there with their significant other having that conversation. And 6 months can become 6 days when you start to get a little bit of that sizzle that goes in there. So, wherever they're at, meet them there, be excited about it, and, talk about the great programs that you have for somebody who's 6 months out. So right. I don't know how you're handling that same objection or that same response.
Yeah, so we do it a little bit differently. So we have a principle that we follow, and it's called now, sooner, or logical next step, right? So anytime that we're talking to somebody, obviously, I want to sell them a house now. I want them to list their house now. I want them to meet with me now. I want them to sign a contract now. I want everything now, right? So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm going to first understand whether or not it can be now. And if somebody says something like, hey, it's not now, it's then, right? Well, then I want to ask questions that are going to help them show me and convince me that not now is the absolute right way to go in the universe and the best decision they could make, right? So yes. I'm going to ask questions to see, why isn't it now? So if they say, hey, you know what, I'm like, would you say 18 months out, 6 months out?
Sure, I'm 9 months out. There we go. We'll just pick one.
I'm 9 months out. Oh, got it. So what's taking you out 9 months? What's causing you to wait for 9 months? I just want to understand, right? I'm just going to ask them. And then they're either going to tell me that it's financing reasons, life reasons, right? They need something to happen first, or they need to get something out of the way, or they just simply, they're waiting for a lease to end, or whatever it may be, right? There's usually some kind of factor that goes into it. So we're going to find that out and see if it's a legitimate thing that has to be waited for, or if we can be a better problem solver for them and figure out how we could help them get around that issue sooner, or whether it's even an issue at all, right?
You know what? I love that. I lead generated a while ago. I actually do sell houses every once in a while, not very often. But I did. I lead generated a while ago, and I had someone who was like, well, we're 6, 8, this, and exactly what you said. You're doing those inquiries for a couple of reasons, but I love that ultimately what we're trying to do is find a problem so that we can solve a problem, right?
Exactly. Usually an objection is a problem or a solution that they've come up to for a problem, right? And so you want to see, can I solve that problem better than you've solved it? And ideally, a mutually beneficial, way of doing it to where we actually work together and I get paid.
Yeah, and one of my favorite objections is I'm saving for a down payment or I'm not sure if I can afford it. Because for me, if there's one thing that really has helped in my career is I started out in the real estate business, and about a year after I was in the real estate business, I got in the mortgage business as well. And although I didn't make any money at that, that's another story, but I learned a lot. And so I have the ability just from the years of doing that to basically pre-qualify somebody on the phone and listen for those keys. So, when somebody says, well, I need to, I'm saving for my down payment. Great. How much money are you saving for your down payment? Well, I want to save $50,000. Well, $50,000. Why are you saving so much money? Well, I've got to have 20% down, don't I? By the way, realtors and everyone who's listening, just because you can buy a house with 0, 3, 5, 3.5% down, there's still a huge percentage of our population that grew up believing you had to put 20% down. I mean, I had somebody who had 10% down and they were saving for 20% down. I'm their hero. I tell you what, I've got a guy who can probably help you with that. And granted, every banker in America could have helped that guy, but they don't necessarily know that. So I'm just saying, great, I've solved their problem. They didn't even know that they had the problem that was solvable before I had that conversation with them. But getting into these things like this, and this is really the discovery part of it. And discovery is all about listening and having the ability to solve problems. And if you are not up to date on every bit of financing in your state, to me, that's a huge mistake. Find out. You'd be able to talk about VA, FHA, down payment assistance, 203K. All of these things have the ability and understanding to talk about it, because I promise you, the last realtor didn't. And I want to say that half the time, that's what helped me convert, because people are like, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. He doesn't just know about real estate. He knows about financing, and he understands the whole picture. And to me, that's part about being a professional.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a perfect example of how you can convert more. So what are let's talk about some other objections that we run into with the website lead conversions, or, we can talk about the objections, or we can also talk about what you should be doing with them, right? We're either trying to move them to a face-to-face, do you want to work on that, Brian?
Yeah.
Like, how do we get them to do something with us, right? Because like I said, it's now. So if we can't get them to do it now, can we get them to do it sooner, right? So they said 9 months, I want to do it sooner, or we need to have a logical next step, right? And between the sooner and the logical next step, what we do is we say, okay, great. So do you want to be moved into your new home in 9 months, or do you want to start shopping in 9 months? And let's see. So 9 months from now is, I don't know what's 9 months from now? What's 9 months from May?
Oh, you make me do math. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January.
I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to do that. That's why I asked you.
During a listing presentation, by the way. If I list a house May 1st, I go June, July, August, September, October, November. November 1st. I literally do that. I think it's fun.
Nice. All right. So it's November
It's
now.
February.
February. Okay. Got it. So do you want to be moved in February, or do you want to just start looking in February, right? So
I'd like to be in my house in February, I think.
We'll be in your house in February. Great. Okay. And so have you ever bought a home before?
I haven't. I was in the military. They moved me all around. They always put me in housing. So this is I got out last week, and now I got to buy a house. So I got to figure this out here in the next, 9 months. I got a lease, so I'm waiting for that to be finished.
Got it. Okay. Well, now we have two different ways that we would go. So because we would chase down the lease idea, see if we can do it sooner, but let's just stick with this one. Let's say that you have something a very solid reason as to why you're not going to do anything until November of next year, right?
Okay, great.
Got it. Okay. So you're going to be moved in by February of next year, which is great. And you haven't purchased a home before. So, it usually takes, once you've found the right home and you've actually negotiated that sale and gotten under contract with the owner, it will typically take you anywhere from 30 to 45 days before you're showing up with the moving truck to move in, right? So that means that you're probably going to start looking for homes somewhere like mid-December, actually. Did you know that?
I hadn't really thought about that. I was thinking more about the middle of January, but I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No, with that kind of time frame. So you'd be under agreement in December, right? So now if we move that back, that's actually you putting something under agreement. And I misspoke. You would actually start looking for houses. We know that it takes our clients on average between 30 and sometimes up to 60 days to find the right home. So if you're going to have something under contract mid-December, that means that you're actually going to start looking like late October or mid-October, right? In order to find the right home, and you got holidays in there, right? So, you're not going to be really on the ball all the time looking for properties. So once you've done that, if you're going to get started in October, when do you think you'd want to actually meet with an agent, discuss your finances, discuss areas, and get a real good game plan of you actually making this huge investment?
Well, Dale, honestly, I hadn't given that a lot of thought. I guess if I'm going to go start looking in October, September sometime, I don't know. That seems like a logical time that I would probably want to do that. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. So it's May 1 now, and now I'm just going to go to when I'm going to contact you next, right?
Right.
But what I have now is all I have is a gap between May 1 and September, right? So now all I need to do is have a couple of touch points with you between now and September. And what we've done is we've just made a much more valid next step with you than you're not ready yet. Okay, well, can I give you a call in a month or so and see where you're at?
Yep.
Right? No, we don't have to do that, right? So now what we know is we can say, oh, great, okay, wonderful. You know what? So it's May right now. I'd love to set you up on a search. I'm going to be sending you some properties. And, I have some really great information on home buying that you can study before you and I get together in September. And what I'll do is I'll reach out. I'm going to send those over to you. I'll reach out to you in about 30 days and see, just to make sure that you've gotten the material, you've been able to review it, and we can talk about some questions that you have.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds like that makes perfect sense. I would really appreciate you sending that information over to me.
Good.
Here's my address, or if I don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you are much more than a nurture in my system, right? Now you're a relationship. You're somebody I've made a commitment to, that I'm sending information to, that I have really good next steps with. Much more than I'm just going to randomly call you and see where you're at.
Right. And so let's talk some interesting math just for a second. So realistically, Dal, and I know that you know some people who are realtors, what is the average do you think someone's paying for this lead?
Oh man. It really depends. I mean, if
$5-10.
Yeah. So if it's a website, or we're on website registrations, yeah. So it'd be like $5 to $10 for a conversation.
And here's why I bring this up, guys, because Dale and I just made this look really easy. By the way, if you're going to do role play, you always let the agent win. So I didn't put Dale in a box that he couldn't get out of. So that's just kind of a rule for role play. But the interesting thing happens is people go and they go, well, I called 20 people and this didn't happen. Here's the thing: you spent $100. It may take 50 phone calls to have one of these great conversations. Now, over time, what happens, and we talked a little bit about CRM, we're going to start top grading these people. So now when I start out, almost every single phone call I make is lead generation, right? Now what Dale has done is he set it up to do some lead follow-up. Which one is more fun? I'm surely getting much more fun calling that guy back because, by the way, one of the conversations that happens when you call that guy in a month is, hey, this is Brian, just following up with you. Want to make sure we didn't drop the ball, see if you had any questions. Are you guys still on track for closing, for meeting in September? They're like, you know what? We've kind of thought maybe we should close before the end of the year. Oh, well, great. Now we got to meet next week. And that's a heck of a lot easier conversation than starting where we started. Yeah. So really think about that. I'm going to switch gears on one of the things that I want to talk about too, along the same lines, getting people to come in. And that's basically what Dale did there. I like the law of reciprocity. I don't know if our followers are familiar with it, but basically the law of reciprocity says if I give you something, whether you like it or not, you feel the need to give something back to me.
Yeah.
So, what have we offered these people? We offered them to set them up on a search. We offered to send them some information. One of the things that we're working on right now that seems to be really very powerful is I'll ask people, and Dale, I'm just going to ask you this. It's not personal. It's not because I'm nosy, but by any chance, do you know what your credit score is? If Dale says no to that question, huge opportunity. Here's the opportunity, and you can go talk to your lenders. They can actually do a soft pull for about $20 usually. Yeah. And get your lenders to pay for this stuff and say, so Dale, I understand you don't know what your credit score is. Let me just tell you a couple of quick stories if you got a second. We've had plenty of clients who thought their credit score was 750 because they never pulled it. Why would you? And they find out that they have a name similar to somebody else, and all of a sudden their credit score is 600, or something got reported falsely on it. So one of the things that we really love to do is I need you to come in the office because I don't like to take people's social security number. There's too much trouble with that. But I'd love to come and meet with you. We'll go over all the stuff that we do. But one of the things I'll do is I will give you a copy of your credit report. And here's what it is. It's not a freecreditreport.com. It's not Credit Karma. This is a real mortgage credit report that will give you a true reflective score. Because one of the problems with those other websites is the credit scores are often way off compared to mortgage pools. So I'd love if would love to set that up. By the way, give us an opportunity. I'm going to spend 20 minutes. We'll have a cup of coffee. No big deal. I have time on Tuesday and Thursday. Either of those days work for you. And basically, I'm giving them something that they didn't even know they wanted or needed. I created the problem. I don't know if you guys heard that. I created the problem of your credit might be screwed up. Someone might have the same name as you. Someone give you and all of a sudden I've created a problem they didn't even know they had. And by the way, I happen to have the solution to that problem.
Boom. There you go. And one thing, another thing I want to give out here, Brian, that sounds awesome. Giving value, reciprocity really works. And for anybody who doesn't understand the principle of reciprocity, it's a real thing. Anytime that you've been given a gift, don't you automatically, first of all, you feel guilty that you don't have to give them, right?
We're broken.
Second, you don't even focus on what they gave you. You start focusing on how do I give something back to them, right? That's the law of reciprocity. Yeah. So that's really powerful. One thing that I wanted to talk about before we end for today is that when we want to close the door, right? So when you're talking about these website registration leads, they are farther out. Most of the time, they're going to be nurtures, or at least it's going to take you a month or two to be able to get face-to-face with a lot of them, right? However, just like with portal leads, they're still out there on the internet searching websites, registering on things. And if they run into agents like Brian's agents or my clients, those agents are going to be very sharp and they are going to get face-to-face with that person if they can. So what you need to do is anytime that you're talking to them, you need to make sure that they understand that you have access to anything that is currently on the market and stuff that they can't find on the internet. And that basically you want to scare them not to go out into the wilderness of the internet again, right? Where they might get eaten by other wolves, but they want to stay here at grandma's house where they know it's safe, okay? So listen, if you're out there looking at other homes and you want to know about something, all you need to do is send it to me. If you register on other websites, your information is going to get sold to a bunch of other real estate agents and they're going to blow your phone up. I'm sure you don't want that, right? All you need to do is send me the email. Like, first of all, just stay on my app and you can find all the homes that you're looking for there, or stay on my website. But if you happen to be strolling around the internet and you find something else, just shoot me the address or the MLS number if you can get it. Or if they happen to attack you, just let them know that we're working together, okay? We don't have anything formal, but at least it's going to help you defend yourself against them. So we want to shut that gate behind us after we're talking to these people.
Yeah, we're giving them scripts, by the way. I don't know if you guys heard that, but Dale actually gave that person a script. If anybody calls you, tell them you're working with me. Like, literally, and I promise you, when you tell people that, they will actually say that. No, I'm working with Brian. Right. And because why? Because you told them to. That's one of the rules of sale that people don't realize. Step number 2 in both my buyer presentation and listing presentation is take control. And basically, take control is I start telling people what to do. 95% of people they'll just do what you tell them to do. It's really surprising. So give them the scripts. I mean, I do this with agents. Tell your client this, and oddly enough, they go and they tell their client that, and it works out. So don't be afraid to sell all the time. I'm always in sales mode. If I'm awake, I'm selling. It's kind of where I'm at. So
there you go. Excellent. All right. So any other parting wisdom, scripts, or anything that we want to use with website registrations?
I think we covered it pretty well. Just to recap some of it, give them some value. Don't scare the crap out of them. You can take a more aggressive approach like Dale's doing, or a little bit more subtle approach what I am. But even Dale's approach isn't, when do you want to go see a house? It's, right. Building some rapport and trying to figure out where they're at. And don't be afraid once you get them talking to do the discovery. And the discovery is really where the money's at. And ultimately, that's what all the stuff on the front end is for, is the ability to allow the discovery. And once you get that discovery done, your whole system changes and the whole attitude changes. So
yeah, let me just cover discovery. Let me cover discovery real quick, Brian. Sure. Because oftentimes, we listen to so many agents' calls. We listen to, thousands of hours of agent calls talking to people. And you can tell agents to do the discovery and they're like, oh yeah, I know. You can tell them like LP Mama, or you can tell them our, who, where, when, why, what, and how much, right? And they're like, oh no, I got it. No, I totally get it. I do it all the time. And then you listen to their call and you're like, what are we missing? We don't know their why. We didn't get their budget. We didn't get their when, blah, 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 right? So what you have to get with every single call is who are they? Do they have an agent? Who's buying with them? Do they have a lender? Have they spoken to one? Who, when are they buying? When do they want to move? When do they want to be in there, right? How much do they want to spend? How much do they want to sell for? Why are they doing this, right? What are they looking for? So those are the things that you need to ask on every single call. That's the discovery. You have to get that. You can't consider that you did your job by talking to a lead if you don't know all of those pieces of information.
Absolutely. And by the way, take notes. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say, but put those notes in your CRM, because next time you call that person, you won't remember what you talked to them about.
Right.
But you can go and write that down and go, hey, so, how's your son doing? I know he's supposed to graduate in May. How'd that go? How's that going?
Yeah.
Great leading. So,
and here's another tip for that, for taking notes. For those of you who are standing in the grocery aisle, right? Or who picking up your kids from soccer, or who are doing whatever you're doing, where you're not in front of your computer or you're not in front of your notepad where you can actually write this stuff down, get a voice recorder app on your phone, okay? So that when you're talking to a lead, you can just turn the recorder on, capture the conversation, and then later you can transcribe your notes so you don't miss that stuff. And here's the other, this is like a cardinal sin that I've heard from agents when they're driving in their car or they're between appointments or whatever they're doing, right? A lead calls in, lead texts in, lead comes in. Agent talks to lead, says, oh, hi, yeah, this is so-and-so with whatever real estate. Lead wants to know about a property, or lead is asking about something in particular. Agent's like, I don't know, I'll call you back. Click, right? Oh, how hard is it to get somebody back on the phone again, right? Don't do that. Turn on your recording app, get all the information from them before you let them off the phone, and then decide on a time when you're actually going to speak again.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that, and I know we're probably over, but this is an important thing. If you are driving down the road and somebody says they want to see 123 Main Street, don't say I'm going to check with the other agent and see if it's available. Book the appointment.
Right.
Great, you want to see it at 3 o'clock today? I don't even know if this house is listed. And I'm going, absolutely, we'll do it at 3 o'clock. If there's a problem, if there's something I don't know about right now, I'm going to call you back. So please make sure that you put my contact information in your phone. So when I call you back, it's because for whatever reason we can't go see the house, or I need to give you some more information that's important. So I'm going to book it for 3 o'clock today, and I look forward to seeing you. If you don't hear from me, I'll see you at the house at 3 o'clock. I have no idea if this house is listed. I have no idea if it's vacant. I have no idea any of this stuff. But guess what? They'll answer my call when I call them back.
They sure will. Absolutely. When you call them back to actually get the proper discovery that you need to get before you agree to shoot out to somewhere at 3 o'clock today.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Great seeing you. Brian, thanks.
Yeah, it was great as always.
Excellent. See you guys next week.
All right, take care.